Mystery money enters the Greitens scandal as the committee investigating him meets again. Good evening, everyone. I'm Jim Reed.
And I'm Emily Spain. The Kansas City Star reports $100,000 in anonymous payments to the attorney representing the ex-husband of the woman involved in the Governor Greitens affair. KOMU 8's Sarah Trott joins us now in the studio with a breakdown of all the new developments.
That's right. Since Governor Greitens received his second felony charge last Friday, more developments have come to light. The Kansas City Star reported today St. Louis attorney Al Watkins, who is representing the man who first accused Greitens of blackmailing his ex-wife, said he received two $50,000 payments from an anonymous source in January. Watkins confirmed the two payments and said he did not know who delivered it to him after the fallout from going public with the affair. Watkins says he has set up a trust account for legal fees associated with the case. And another development, St. Louis Circuit Attorney Kim Gardner told the Kansas City Star she may ask the court to appoint Attorney General Josh Hawley as a special prosecutor in the other case against Greitens. The circuit attorney brought forward a felony charge against Greitens, accusing him of tampering with the donor list and data from Mission Continues. The House Special Investigative Committee met today in a closed-door session to discuss that charge. As those House members left the meeting, they refused questions and would not provide updates on a timeline for what's to come. Reporting in the studio, Sarah Trott, KOMU 8 News.
MU staff members met with Chancellor Alexander Cartwright today to talk about the best approach to expected budget cuts. KOMU 8's Charles Nicholson is live on campus to tell us one staff member says the university has reached a critical mass.
Staff members wanted to know what protection the university could offer them with budget cuts looming. The forum was supposed to follow an activity analysis that reviewed how employees spent their time, meant to increase efficiency. The university said the focus was on making improvements while scaling back. However, staff members and university officials differed on how to prioritize hiring and retaining top-tier employees.
So what we're trying to do now is to develop a strategic plan that will guide us for the next several years so that we will have an idea of what areas we want to concentrate on, where are our priorities, and how do we make those priorities happen.
This is a problem that needs to be addressed immediately. It's not something that we can, as we work on our finances and all these things, that we can work our way out of this. It's a situation that has to be dealt with right now.
The university is hosting another town hall tomorrow to keep talking about these issues. A spokesperson for MU said he expects budgetary decisions for next year to be made in the next 2 months. Reporting live in Columbia, Charles Nicholson, KOMU 8 News.
Major changes may be coming to your state income tax rate. A Missouri House committee approved a bill tonight that would alter individual income taxes. KOMU 8's Max Cotton was in Jefferson City for the hearing and is now in the newsroom with more on how your tax bill could change.
Last December, Congress overhauled the federal tax code. Now, Missouri looks to do the same. This bill would essentially be a flat tax, creating one state income tax bracket at 5.9% while eliminating many deductions. Currently, there are 10 brackets.
This would treat every taxpayer the same. If you use the same percentage and apply it to all taxable income, then if you only make a little, you only pay a little. You make a medium amount, you pay a medium amount. You make a lot, you're going to pay a lot. This simplifies, though, the actual filling out of your 1040 tax form.
There's a lot of unknowns, and so I don't want to see Missouri be in a bad place where we don't have sufficient amount of money to do the things that we need to do in the state.
Eggleston's bill is one of multiple tax reform proposals currently. He says his bill, though, is more appealing because it's simpler than the other proposals. Reporting in the newsroom, Max Cotton, KOMU 8 News.
The new Aldi across from Kohl's is closed until further notice after a semi-truck caught on fire yesterday. During the fire, smoke could be seen all the way from downtown Columbia. This video here was taken from the 10th floor of a building on Locust Street. Today, crews started cleaning up the mess left behind. The district manager told KOMU 8 he is not allowed to comment, and when we asked him when they expect to be back open, again, he said he couldn't comment on that either. The fire chief estimated thousands of dollars in damage. One person who was inside at the time of the fire says she's sad Aldi is closed right now.
Especially the new Aldi. I mean, they don't carry all of everything. Of course, we can't get everything there, but everything is so much cheaper there. We do our grocery shopping on Sundays. We always start at Aldi and get what we can there and then move to the different stores as we need to.
No one was hurt in the fire. The cause of the fire is still under investigation. The fire department says it will release more information after it receives the report on the investigation.
The Columbia City Council talked about a multi-million-dollar water bond tonight that could improve the city's aging water plant. The upgrades would improve water flow, which fire crews say is essential. KOMU's Justin Kolar is here in the studio to tell us who would pay for these expensive upgrades.
It's been nearly 10 years since the city upgraded its water plant, and Columbia Water and Light says things are getting too old to keep up with the growing population. The last time this bond passed for water upgrades, it meant a 4% utility rate increase. These new upgrades would increase utility costs for Columbia residents again. City Councilman Michael Trapp believes a similar price increase could be worth it, as long as the price is fair. He argues since the upgrades will benefit people 20 years from now, the payment should be spread out over time. That way everyone is chipping in and all the cost isn't only on people living in Columbia right now.
Our infrastructure really is kind of generational in its scope. You know, it's things that were handed to us by our ancestors and that we're going to hand off to the people who come after us.
The multi-million-dollar improvement plan would increase capacity at the water plant to meet the needs of the growing population and also update these aging systems. City Council will vote on whether or not the bond should be on the August ballot at its meeting next week. In the studio, Justin Kolar, KOMU 8 News.
10 people are dead and 16 are hurt after a man drove a van into pedestrians in Toronto. The driver fled the scene of the incident after the van mounted the curb, hitting the pedestrians. Toronto police arrested 25-year-old Alec Minasian and took him into custody after a tense standoff. Police say the cause and motive are unknown.
Just pandemonium broke loose. Just everyone was going crazy.
The deputy chief says they are interviewing witnesses and examining surveillance cameras as part of what they call a complex investigation. The man suspected of opening fire at a Waffle House in Nashville was arrested today. The arrest comes after police say the suspect fired shots inside the restaurant Sunday morning, killing 4 people. 29-year-old Travis Reinking was taken into custody after being on the run for more than 24 hours. Police found him hiding in a wooded area near his apartment.
At that point, Detective Williams drew down on the suspect. The suspect proned out. He told him to get on the ground. He got on the ground immediately, proned himself out. Other detectives came and assisted.
Authorities in Illinois say they seized several of his weapons last year, but gave them back to his father, who later returned them to his son.
Former President George H.W. Bush is in intensive care after being admitted to the hospital yesterday morning. This came just a day after attending the funeral of his late wife, Barbara. The family spokesman, Jim McGrath, says the former president was hospitalized after getting a blood infection. He says the Bush senior is responding to the treatments and appears to be recovering. CIA Director Mike Pompeo advanced out of committee today after a last-minute reversal of votes. The Senate committee voted 11-9 in favor of Pompeo to be Secretary of State. Senator Rand Paul says he changed his vote after being assured by President Trump and Pompeo. Today, Senator Joe Manchin tweeted his support for confirmation. Manchin said he met with Pompeo and discussed foreign policy.
How one program is helping get more healthy options on the dinner table.
Plus, a new grant could help give victims of sexual assault more peace of mind.
And we're going to be on a bit of a temperature roller coaster here for the rest of our week. Then we have some slight rain chances as well, but warmer weather is on the way. I'll tell you all about it in my full forecast right after the break.
Track storms wherever you are. Download the free KOMU8 Weather and Traffic app. Brought to you by University Subaru.
Welcome back. Prom dresses, tuxedos, and breathalyzers, all things you will see at the Rockbridge Prom this weekend, and it's got a Columbia attorney weighing in. Rockbridge administrators and student council members made the decision together to have every student entering prom take a breathalyzer test. This new policy comes after alcohol-related incidents at homecoming. Staff members, not police, will give students the test. However, attorney Dan Viets says the testing goes against students' Fourth Amendment rights. Viets sent a letter to the school board voicing his concerns and calls the searches unreasonable.
The board members have been led to believe that the students at Rockbridge demanded these alcohol tests, but according to what I've read, in fact, they were coerced into supporting this practice by a threat of canceling the prom.
Rockbridge's principal says that those claims are false. She says administration and student council members agreed on the test together and that at no time were any students threatened. More than 100 people in Missouri are still waiting to find out who sexually assaulted them, and a big possible clue in each case is sitting in an untested sexual assault kit. So now Missouri is in the process of applying for a $3 million federal grant to help pay to test those kits. Senator Caleb Rowden proposed the idea this month and says Missouri's backlog has reached a crisis level. An advocate for victims says there are too many unanswered questions.
Has it been picked up from the hospital? Has it been submitted for analysis? What's the status of that analysis? It would be a very user-friendly for victims to feel like they have more involvement in that process.
If Missouri gets the grant, one possible outcome would be an electronic tracking system for sexual assault kits. The DOJ will announce grant recipients this fall.
Healthy meals are expensive, so a new Columbia program will help put fruits and vegetables on the table. The Healthy Eating Voucher program supplements food stamps with fresh and frozen fruits and vegetables. The Beacon of Hope is providing 15 $5 vouchers each month to anyone living in the new Lynn Street cottages. Hundreds of people gathered to get a hands-on experience with Japanese culture in Columbia tonight. The Japanese exchange students of the University of Missouri came together to put on the first ever Japanese Spring Festival. It allowed people to try on traditional Japanese clothing, make origami, learn to speak and write Japanese, and even make their own sushi. A festival attendee enjoyed how much she learned and thinks events like this are important.
I think people should definitely come to events like this because it's just a part of the culture and it opens up their world more. And so, I don't know, become more, whether you can like travel out or not, you can still become more knowledgeable of the world around you.
About 250 people attended the festival, even though those in charge were expecting about 100.
Well, you can call them a cousin or a brother.
Right. Missouri baseball welcomes a Columbia boy to their family as they face different battles.
Now, from the Ford Sports Desk, KOMU 8 Sports.
Hi, everyone. The Missouri baseball team won a big series against Vanderbilt over the weekend. For the Cousins family, last Thursday's series opening victory meant even more. KOMU 8's Stephanie Lorenz tells us about the Cousins' journey with Missouri baseball.
On January 25th, Brandon Cousins signed his national letter of intent to join the Tigers for the 2018 season.
I guess they act like a big brother. It's so fun. Just to hang out with them is fun.
Brandon has his own jersey and locker, but most importantly, joining the Tigers has brought him a lot of joy and positivity.
I love seeing him smile, and he's been through so much. So just saying a big thank you, and just they treat him so well, and they're so kind to him. Just thank you.
Brandon Cousins was diagnosed with medullinoblastoma on May 12th, 2017.
I found an organization called Friends of Jacqueline, and they partnered him with Mizzou baseball team, and it was right before his last cycle.
Medullinoblastoma is a cancerous tumor found in the brain at the base of the skull.
May 15th, he had brain surgery, and they removed the tumor and found out it was medulloblastoma, an aggressive tumor, and so they had to fight it aggressively. So he had to do 31 days of radiation and 30 days of chemo.
But that hasn't stopped Brandon from repping the Tigers.
I don't know, like, almost all the time, except for when I sleep.
Stephanie Lorenz, KOMU 8 Sports, Columbia.
Stephanie, thank you very much. Brandon finished his chemo treatment at the end of February, and last Thursday night's game was the first one of the season he attended, and the Tigers responded with one of their biggest wins of the year. A Columbia College baseball player continues to earn conference honors. Andrew Warner, the American Midwest Conference Player of the Week. It's the 9th time in his career he's won the honor. He helped the Cougars to 3 wins in 4 games last week with 3 homers and a .500 batting average, and he has reached base in 17 consecutive games. The Cards and the Royals both had this night off. Both bounce back into action tomorrow night. We're about 20 games to the season. Got a feel for each ball club. Cards are in first in the NL Central, and they would likely stay there if they could always play the Cincinnati Reds. They're 7-0 against the Reds, owners of the worst record in the majors. Cards did have to put Adam Wainwright on the disabled list with elbow inflammation, and you see their schedule gets tougher. 11 of the next 13 against teams with winning records. Then there are the Royals across the state. They have won just 5 of their first 20 games. The Moose is loose, though. Mike Moustakas riding a 14-game hitting streak. He had a big home run in Sunday's win in Detroit, and good news could be on the way as Salvador Perez, the all-star slugging catcher, slated to return this week as the Royals get set to host the Brewers. That's sports.
Now here's a look at what we're following for KOMU 8 News at 10 o'clock. Jim, you had a Joplin story for us at 6. Different story at 10, though.
Right. Jeff and Carolina Neal, their business is restoring buildings. And, of course, 7 years ago, there were a lot of buildings that needed to be restored in Joplin. So we talk about the past, present, and future coming up at 10 o'clock. Kenton.
Hey, not a bad day out there tomorrow. We're at 50 degrees here at sunrise, then 75 tomorrow afternoon. Mostly sunny as well for most of us by the afternoon hours. And then we're on a bit of a roller coaster here with temperatures the rest of the week.
Good old whoop-de-whoop.
A good old whoop-de-whoop. Down to 62 on Wednesday, maybe even a little bit of rain to our south.
Okay.
We can put up with 62. It's back when it was like 32 or 22.
Good to me.
And
Yeah, I'll
snow
deal with
flurries,
62.
yeah.
No freezing temperatures on that forecast.
Right.
On air, online, on Facebook, on Twitter, on